Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from Am I the A-Hole? Story 1 is by Comfortable Clothed. Am I the a-hole for asking for a dress code exception and ruining my relationship with my sister-in-law? I'm a 28-year-old female and I'm a Muslim. I was not raised Muslim, but I converted during a difficult time in my life and honestly believe it saved me. My husband, who's 30, was there for me during this time and has always understood my reasons and is very supportive, despite being an atheist himself. My husband's sister, who's 24, is getting married and asked me to be a bridesmaid, which I am thrilled to do. We have chosen a modest dress which I can wear with a hijab, and there are no qualms on that front. The issue comes with her bachelorette party. She wants a Vegas-themed party and all the girls must wear bikinis in coordinating colors. Now, I wouldn't mind this if I was just in the company of women, but I cannot show my body off in front of men, and 2 of the bridesmaids are my sister-in-law's gay best friends, male 24 and 25. These 2 guys are lovely and I absolutely have no issues with them, but I cannot wear a bikini in front of them. I tried to compromise with my sister-in-law and wear something modest but still in the color scheme, but she says I'm being homophobic and ruining the vibe of the party. She said if I can't wear a bikini, then I shouldn't bother being a bridesmaid at all. My husband said I need to do whatever makes me feel comfortable, but my mother-in-law, who's 62, is saying that I'm driving a wedge in the family over nothing, and that it isn't like I haven't worn a bikini before and I can set aside my ideas for one night. She said that they don't even count as men under the Muslim definition because they are gay and won't look at me like that, and I'm purposefully being difficult. My sister-in-law has followed through with uninviting me over this and said she'll never be able to see me the same way again because of my selfish behavior. So I come to the internet to ask if I'm being an a-hole. If you're not comfortable showing that much skin around somebody, you don't have to. And she is massively selfish for demanding this of you and uninviting you to the wedding when you choose not to do it. I don't know why she didn't just let you be a bridesmaid in the wedding and then have the bachelorette party and let you wear what you want. It's just a party. I don't know why she feels the need to coordinate everything. And people love to use the phrase, "Oh, you're being difficult towards women," when they know they're in the wrong and they just want them to cave. Down in the comments by Icy Chicken 2240. To be honest, I even think your religion is besides the point. You don't want to wear a bikini. No matter the reason, you're not an a-hole for saying no. The idea that just because someone is getting married means they get to dictate every little detail is crazy to me. Underneath that comment by Read the Things 13,579. This completely. Any person who insists that someone else has to expose more of their body than they're comfortable exposing is automatically the a-hole in the situation. Our next story is by Suitable District 46. Am I the a-hole for suing to get my child support back after my son died? I'm a 48 female and I never wanted kids. I thought I'd married a man who's 48 with the same feelings. We had discussed this a bit in depth before we got serious, much less married. After 5 years of marriage, he changed his mind. He wanted a child. I very much did not, but I loved my husband and agreed to adopt. As long as my husband agreed to be the stay-at-home parent because I have a great career and he works from home. It took 2 years, but we finally adopted a baby from my husband's birth country. As planned, my husband stayed home with our new son. Everything went well for the first little while, but then my husband said we needed a nanny because working and having a child was difficult. No blank, Sherlock. That was the beginning of the end. Lots of fighting about childcare. More about budgets. Even more about living with the consequences of our choices. We divorced and my husband got custody and I pay child support. I saw my son grow up and I loved him very much. We spent time together and I took him on holidays that I otherwise never would have taken. When my son was 14, I got a sizable bonus at work. I talked to my accountant and lawyer and I paid the next 4 years of child support in a lump sum. My ex had some expenses and he needed money. He was also an amazing parent and I knew he was never going to not take care. The double negative in this sentence makes it hard to read, so I'm just going to fix it and put a positive statement in there. He was also an amazing parent, and I knew he would take good care of our son. Just in case anyone wonders what the original sentence says and they're not reading it, he was also an amazing parent, and I knew he was never going to not take good care of our son. My ex took the money and used it to take care of his stuff. When our son turned 16, he bought him a motorcycle. I thought it was a terrible idea, but it wasn't my call. Long story short, I was right. My son died, and my ex was badly injured trying to reach him on a road trip on their motorcycles. It has been 6 months, and I approached my ex about getting the child support back because there is no child. He called me heartless and an a-hole for even thinking of the money right now. I left and put it all in my lawyer's hands. My ex's family is now bad-mouthing me to everyone for expecting a refund. I don't think I'm in the wrong, but maybe I am? Am I the a-hole? Man, OP, that's rough. You didn't want a kid, you got a kid, you lived with this kid for 16 years, and then he dies in a motorcycle accident? That is awful. I'm so sorry. You're not the bad guy in this situation, though. Because you're not asking for all of it back. You gave him money for 4 years of child support, and your child only lived for 2 years after you paid for 4. In the comments at the bottom by Master K999. Not the a-hole. Please ignore people here who are slamming you. Everyone processes grief differently. And I also would be upset at the idea of my ex keeping a windfall after they bought the thing that killed our child. I think the main problem is one of language. You're not asking for a refund, but rather the return of an unused portion. Refund sounds heartless. I agree, refund sounds heartless, and that's also why his family is using that term against you. Because they know it makes you sound bad. And I'm sure somebody can figure out exactly how much you're entitled to. He doesn't just get to keep that even if he was a great father. Our next story is by Bag Admirable, 1996. Am I the a-hole for getting a hotel room for my spouse, me and my daughter, instead of forcing her to share a bed with her cousins? I normally get along really well with my in-laws. My mother-in-law is awesome. Sister-in-law and brother-in-laws and everyone else are just great people. We were headed out their way to go spend some time before school starts again, and it lined up with when 2 other families were coming into town. This meant that the bedrooms we'd normally stay in were packed, and while my husband and I had just a room and a bed, our daughter, Cass, 8, didn't have a spot to herself. My sister-in-law suggested that she just double up with her cousins, as some of the cousins would share beds. Cass was not happy about this and did not want to. She was pretty adamant about it. She has never shared a bed with anyone, and I wasn't about to force her to. I figured that us leaving to get a hotel a few miles away would free up some space and make it easier on everyone. Everyone was really taken aback by this. They kept telling me that it didn't make sense, it was spending money when we didn't need to, and that it's fine for them to share beds. I said I know it's fine, but Cass isn't comfortable with it, and I'm not going to force her to. They kept pushing back and saying all girls share beds, and more stuff about how girls are used to seeing each other changing. They kept emphasizing that it's normal and it's weird for us to be upset about it. They kept asking me why she was uncomfortable, and one of them even asked her in a way you know is meant to guilt trip her. Like, why does this make you uncomfortable? Don't you want to spend time with your cousins? We ended up getting the hotel room, but they brought it up every day and kept almost making fun of my daughter for not wanting to share a bed, indicating that she was weird and spoiled. I've never in my life shared a bed with anyone other than someone I'm being romantic with. Even as a little kid, I'd never shared a bed either. I didn't change around other girls except in gym class, where I generally change in the restroom because it felt really inappropriate. I didn't think this was super weird, but the entire family, women at least, made me feel like I was some kind of freak for not forcing my daughter into it. Am I the a-hole? I think it's pretty clear you're not the a-hole in this. And when I was in high school as well, and when I had to change for gym class, I hated it, and most of the time I would go into the restroom to change too. Not everyone is comfortable getting undressed in front of people, and though it's the norm at gyms and stuff, you go to a locker room, you just change, it's no big deal. It's fine if some people are fine with it. Not everyone is. This is just a story of different strokes for different folks. Not everyone is comfortable with this sort of thing. And Cass might have had fun if she stayed. Might have been like a sleepover and they might have talked and had fun and giggled all night. But she doesn't have to do it. Even though she's 8, it's fine that the parents go and stay in a hotel with her. Down in the comments by Blanket Statement 5. You're teaching your daughter that her consent and her boundaries and her bodily autonomy matter. Keep it up. Not the a-hole. Underneath that by Friend Lily. OP, I agree. You're awesome for protecting your daughter from being uncomfortable in this situation. It's quite concerning that the whole family wants to disregard consent so much. Another thing that stands out to me is that they took this to the child as well via manipulation, passive aggression, and guilt. Quoting the OP, and I'm only reading the second little paragraph they wrote, "We ended up getting the hotel room, but they brought it up every day and kept almost making fun of my daughter for not wanting to share a bed, indicating that she was weird and spoiled. This is where they should have been shut down hard. You and your husband should have told them in no uncertain terms that this is not acceptable and they need to stop all comments about it. Or you should have left. Where was your husband in all this? He ultimately should have been dealing with his family." Good question, Friend Lily. Where is the husband in this? He should be telling them to knock it off. Our stories for today have come to a close. It is a beautiful, beautiful day outside today. We mowed the lawn today. I'm so eager to get outside and get a little sun with my cat, so I'm going to do that before I finish the rest of this video. This is just the recording portion, so there's editing to happen still. Until we meet again, you guys have an amazing day.